Welcome, everybody, to the Brick by Bit podcast. I am your host, Rich De Palma, and you are listening to episode 4, a knee-jerk reaction to the Build Digital grant. Welcome again, everybody, to Brick by Bit. This is episode 4, and the focus for today is going to be a reaction to the Irish government announcing some investment into digital design and construction through something called the Construction Sector Build Digital Grant. As always, just a reminder that the Brick by Bit is brought to you by DPW Digital Construction. Please hit like, hit subscribe, and get in touch with any of your comments or feedback that we'd love to hear. Let's jump right into it straight away. But before we get kind of into it, the one thing I want to say is that the topic for today, obviously being local to Ireland, but I think the principles that we'll discuss today really would apply to any government that's taking on such an investment. Maybe just some considerations. So while it is locally focused, we think the principles would apply in general to other public sector grants of this nature. Just want to give a bit of a background in terms of what the Construction Build Digital Grant is. In Ireland, we have something called Project Ireland 2040. I'm just going to kind of read the quote of what that's for. It's a government's long-term overarching strategy to make Ireland a better country for all and to build a more resilient and sustainable future. So big scope to that project. Underneath that project, there is a construction sector group that is obviously focusing on the impacts and innovation within the construction sector. And this Build Digital project is one initiative within that. Okay, so this is one part of something that's bigger in terms of the construction industry, which then is something bigger in terms of Ireland as a whole. Two things were released back on the 4th of November. One was a social media announcement by the Minister of Public Expenditure and Reform. And then to accompany that, there was a publication on the government website. We're going to give links to both of those will be in the description, so you can go see those for yourself. Worth a read, worth a view. As it's a very exciting initiative for the construction industry, and in particular, digital design and construction. And just kind of, look, a bit of a word of warning here. Our comments, they're based on the information that's publicly released. So we're purely basing kind of our reaction on those two public statements. There's going to be loads of detail that's behind that obviously we're not going to be privy to. But we're taking it kind of at face value of what's being presented. So when it kind of comes down to how this is really implemented, there's going to be a wealth of detail that's available there. That one may answer some of the comments that we would have. And kind of two, really show how this is going to be implemented in the long run for it. I'm going to read a couple of quotes here for things that I think are important for getting word for word. So what was this? The purpose of this construction sector digital build grant. And what we have here is the purpose of it really is world-class digital practices to achieve a more sustainable and innovative sector. I think that statement alone is tremendously positive for the industry. Again, tremendously positive for kind of the specific thing that we do in terms of digital design and construction. And kind of a couple of factors I think that really make it powerful is one, it's coming from the public sector. So the public sector can mean lots of things to lots of different people, but and say in this particular case, we can see that as coming from a very big client, right? So we have a client that's recognizing that digital design and construction is important for the sector and is needed to attribute value to projects from a sustainability perspective and from an innovation perspective. So just that alone, again, is probably worth the entire investment that's being made. Is that there is a recognition here that it's important, and it's important because it's going to deliver value for them as a big client. And the other thing that's in there is focusing in on the words, to achieve a more sustainable and innovative sector. To me, maybe just some semantics or being kind of focused in on one word, but the fact that they have more in there. So I think it's a recognition that the industry has opportunities to improve, and as a big client, they want the industry to improve because they're going to see the value of that. Really in the long run. Some of the goals, and again, some more maybe background that was mentioned was that the digital construction sector, they have here, is critical for the delivery of major projects in the 165 billion euro national development plan. So look, coming from a risk perspective, if we take a look at that, that's a big investment that's being made with public funds. And the government is recognizing that digital design and construction is needed to achieve optimal success for those projects. Again, hugely important statement. Kind of falls back to that first statement and principle of why they're doing this. I'm going to raise a little flag here, though. And look, I'm not going to say it's a red flag, but a one little flag there. Again, looking at the words that are being used, major projects is being put in there. Within that scope of 165 billion euros worth of public expenditure on the National Development Plan projects, I wouldn't know how much of that is kind of geared towards smaller projects. And again, just throwing an extra word in there of major projects kind of makes me kind of wonder, is there kind of just a focus here on saying that only big projects will benefit from digital design and construction? I think we'd obviously going to be looking to challenge that various scales of projects would benefit from this. So again, I have a little concern for that major reference that's put in there. It happens again a bit later on. So something to look out for as these types of investments from the Irish government come into play. And look, that might impact on procurement. Are you going for major projects or kind of smaller projects? Will it have the requirements and the demands associated with digital design construction? We have to wait and see on that. But like I said, just a little bit of a flag there. They also announced who the consortia is. So the Digital Build Grant is scheduled to be delivered by 5 academic institutions: Technical University Dublin, Munster Technical University, Galway-Mayo Institute of Technology, Waterford Institute of Technology, University College Dublin, and then they're partnering with CEDA. It's good to have the kind of representation across the country. It's going from east to west to south. In terms of where the digital grant is going to be delivered from. Another bit of a flag for me here would be that it's very much academic faced, and with that, there's no direct link with industry, right? There's lots of indirect links there, kind of through the education programs that are offered. People go through the education system, come out the other end. They're in industry. But I would kind of question outputs from an academic perspective. How are they going to translate into industry? And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for those partners in this, is how they get from A to B, from academic to real practical results on that. So like I said, I would see that as kind of maybe the primary risk here for the goals that are associated with this grant. Is that connection between the two. So what's involved in the investment? 2.5 million euros over 5 years. Look, that's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money. At the same time, and just to give kind of a bit of context on that, if we're talking about 165 billion euro national development plan delivery, the 2.5 million, is really a drop in the bucket, kind of from that perspective. So to see where that investment lies. Now, with that said, I'm making an assumption here that, this is a start of something coming from the Irish government, investing in that construction sector from, this digital perspective. the construction sector group is larger than just this one project. So I'm almost certain that that's the case. And this is just a starting point, which is again fantastic. But it's to kind of see how that money gets followed. And then again, in the context of 6 organizations as a consortium, all feeding off that grant. There's a lot of admin that's there. Just even kind of the communication between all those organizations, aligning themselves, this cost associated with that. And if simply breaking it down to say $500,000 a year for the next 5 years. The distribution of that may not be the case there, but it's a lot of people feeding at that trough. And it's kind of to see really with that level of investment, I think we just need to be kind of a bit careful of what we expect to come out of the Build the Digital grant. But look, it's clear commitment from the government that this is important and they're going to back it. One of the focuses of it is that it's going to address the issues that have hindered digital adoption and support digital ambitions into the future. It's a nice high-level statement. It's a clear statement as well. But to me, how have these been defined and been addressed? Or will be addressed? And look, that might be in the details of the documentation that kind of I wouldn't have access to. Again, to look ties back into that whole academic to industry kind of side of things is that I think it'd be very difficult for academia to take on that target. Once to kind of identify, what's hindering on the boots on the ground, what's hindering adoption, and then how to actually resolve that, and then also defining what are the digital aspirations for the future. Look, it's very high level kind of a statement, and like I said, the details probably there somewhere. That we don't have, and then look, will come out in the wash as the digital grant gets delivered. But I think it's very difficult kind of high level achievement to meet given the setting that the consortium is taking. Now a couple of clear goals are are defined here. And first is to bring major projects to a higher standard due to digital efficiencies, share knowledge and learnings across the sector, and increase productivity in a collaborative sector. So to me, 3 very, very clear goals that the government wants to see out of their investment that they're making here. So to me, that is as good as a mandate as you'll hear. To me, the government's saying we want value for money, and we're expecting that the construction industry going digital is going to achieve it. And we're so confident that we're going to, pony up some cash, to help achieve that. So as much as that's the good thing, it's also a challenge. It's laid down to say this is the way that we see it's going to be, and we expect the construction sector to react to that in a positive and productive way. So there's another side. There's a flip side to that. That in one case, it's kind of saying, listen, construction sector, we need you to improve. But the flip side of that is that it's not all down to that side of the table from a stakeholder point of view. So again, one thing that kind of maybe hope comes out of this is maybe further client side education. So that if we look at the standards that are out there, and just look in practical terms, in terms of practice, of how we deliver digital construction projects. The client plays a huge role in defining what those are, and procuring them. I think that's kind of another area where if we kind of go back to things that have hindered adoption, the client side I think is a big part of that. So one of the things that hopefully gets targeted as part of this of the grant is client side education. So it's very much kind of understanding where the value for that is from the client's point of view, also how we request it, how we procure it, how we price it. How do we ensure that what we're putting on paper is reflective in the tenders that are coming back, and how do we check and monitor progress so that when we say we want improved performance, Okay, from the client's perspective, how do we ensure that we're getting it? And then if we do get it, how do we reward it? And if we don't get it, how do we look at improving those organizations that don't, necessarily kind of meet the standard that's going to be required through this the mandate that's coming down. The another flag, mentioned it before, is excuse me, the word major, right? So again, major projects to a higher standard. Again, what about the not major projects? The again, the risk flag is raised there on that one. The when it comes down to sharing knowledge and learnings across the sector, I think this is a little bit harder than kind of people realize. And again, is a factor, certainly is a factor, I think, in hindering digital adoption overall. Maybe not hindering, it's a concern of people that are involved in digital design and construction. And what's the balance between sharing and maintaining a competitive advantage? I don't have an answer for that. But I think kind of blanket statements of we want to share learnings across the sector. Again, high level statement, probably more in the details that need to come out. What does that mean? How does that really come about? How does that promote innovation as opposed to stifling it? And what I mean by that is if there's a kind of a standard approach that's being accepted, the people tend just to do that. If that's going to tick the box, help win the project, help us deliver the project and keep everybody happy, we'll do that. If there's incentive and that comes down to from a competitive advantage point of view from industry stakeholders, then that'll be, then that's trying to be achieved. So I think that's, it's a very tricky one. And it's down to balance of getting it right. And the mechanisms for doing that, I think, is a bit easier. The various different ideas, digital platforms, all sorts of things can facilitate that. But it's getting back to that, the key principle of, what's correct for sharing, what's potentially being held back by industry stakeholders, purely from a competitive advantage point of view. And look, that changes over time as well. If we look back and kind of see where the implementation of past 1192, never mind the ISO, when it was a competitive advantage to just facilitate and work in that particular manner, there was more of a closed shop. As it became more and more open, as that type of information management process became more commoditized, the people willing to share, and kind of a huge bit more. So it's something that also is a bit of a moving target for the consortia to look at. And again, kind of ties back into the collaborative nature of the thing, and then also kind of how does academia deliver, on this result? To me, that's not clear, kind of either. In how that setting really can see exactly what's needed, boots on the ground, what's happening, boots on the ground, and look to develop solutions, or at least principles of solutions, or whatever the deliverable is going to be on that particular point to manifest itself. So look, those were kind of the items that were highlighted in the announcement section of things. The one thing that was also kind of put forward was, again, at high level, the delivery scope of what was going to happen. And one of the items that's in there, again, focusing on the words, is that what we're going to describe here is identified as some of the delivery scope. Look, and I think that's fair. Like it's a 5-year project. A little bit of flexibility has to be there, because you're starting off, and then you have to see where it goes. And look over a 5-year period, if we look where the industry has been over the last 5 years, in terms of digital adoption, digital requirements, people's capabilities, there's been a big jump over the last 5 years. Is as fast as everyone wants? Maybe not. Most likely not. But there's been a lot of change over the next 5 years. Particularly with kind of investment coming in from the likes of the government, there's going to be more change over that time. So I think that's a bit fair. And the other side of things, saying some of the delivery scope, there's a lot already proposed. It's a big task of work that's been put on paper. So wouldn't fault them for a bit of flexibility and kind of maybe changing direction later on. I would see that as a positive thing. And also they've already committed to kind of a big scope of work. Within that time period and within that budget constraint. So the first thing they want to do is down on the list of delivery is establish an Irish-built digital leadership forum to focus on knowledge sharing and adoption specifically. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing develops. Really kind of what does it do? That leadership forum. There's been other leadership forums we've seen in this area before. There's been a few of them. We've seen lots of special interest groups as well, kind of come and go. And I think kind of one of the key items of why that tends to happen is really defining what's the overall goal here. Now we have a kind of a goal of focusing on knowledge sharing and adoption. But again, practical terms, moving from the academic to industry. I'm not exactly sure how you tend to implement something that leads those two specific things on an industry-wide scale. Huge challenge. And look, who's going to be involved in this, I think, is going to be hugely important as well. And I would see kind of the intentions, of those participants. Now this is, to me, the biggest opportunity for industry links. Within, with all the institutions that are involved in the consortia, the academic side is more than covered, right? This is real opportunity to kind of focus on industry leaders, bringing them in, getting their perspective, getting their bias, and I think this is going to be kind of another challenge for this particular item. There's the connection, at least the basis of a connection between what do we really need today and in the future as we actually use this, and look to see how the academic setting can help that. The qualifications and experience of the members, I think, is going to be hugely critical. It's crucial to the success of this thing. And it's not an easy role by any stretch. If you're looking at someone, the role profile for that, somebody with industry leader experience, that's obviously at the minimum is going to happen within their own organization. Ideally, within kind of other interest groups within the construction sector, I think is going to be hugely important for the person to have that kind of experience. Some sort of technical background, I think, is going to be critical as well. To look at this from a leadership perspective and not recognize the constraints and the challenges and the day-to-day workings that are required from a technical point of view, whether it's using the technology, whether it's process-based, that knowledge needs to be there. Otherwise, we're talking about high-level stuff that never really meets the requirements, the practical requirements of digital design and construction. I think that's been kind of, one of the issues that's for different special interest groups and leadership forums, has led to their impact being, kind of greatly reduced from what was initially intended. And then someone's gonna have to manage the bias, because if you're bringing in people from different perspectives, different aspects of the construction sector, they're coming in with preconceived notions. They're coming in to benefit what they see as really important, primarily from their point of view. And the challenge, they're going to need to be challenged on that, and it's going to have to be, how do we collaboratively? So if we're talking about collaboration, we all have to receive benefits. When I say all of us, it's down to kind of all industry stakeholders, from client through designers, through specialist contractors, through main contractors, down to the public, enjoying the built environment that gets created for them. Again, pulling all that stuff together, is going to be kind of huge, challenging to do in a meaningful way. Look, another one aspect here was undertake a national survey. I'd say it's okay if it's meaningful. Doing these types of surveys, what's the benefit, and how do we get meaningful results? It's issues with any type of survey. What's the sample size? Are we meeting a cross section of the entire industry? Are the answers being provided objective and true, or is the responders trying to, again, put their own biases on things, trying to skew results. The NBS over in the UK does a national survey, and they've done so since 2016. Maybe been before that, actually. I think it's gone on 10 years now, so it's coming back to probably 2010, 2011. 906 people responded. That was their respondents in the UK, and that's an industry-wide survey. The 900 out of hundreds of thousands of stakeholders within the construction sector over in the UK, is it given a real true response? Are the people responding to those types of things already inclined to promote digital design and construction, and maybe give skewed results in terms of levels of adoption, intentions? The value of a national survey, one of those things that, again, it's like with all these things is tricky. How are you going to get meaningful results? Is it worth doing if, based on those challenges that we've seen on different national surveys and even kind of surveys from not even on a national level, kind of maybe even kind of industry specific that we've seen, how meaningful are the results? I don't know. I tend to treat those things with a bit of a grain of salt. Look, not down to the fact that it was done or how it was done. But if you look at the questions that are being asked, and again, we mentioned sample size, the cross section that's taken, they tend not, to me, they tend not to be, hugely valuable. Something's better than nothing most of the time. But if it's giving the wrong story, I think that they're dangerous. Another one is promoting engagement with different regions, different sectors, and also on a global scale. Again, another opportunity here for the link between academia and industry to take place. Again, I have a bit of kind of a concern here from that academic focus. I think it's easy to, from an academic perspective, to reach out to other universities in other areas and see what they're doing. But I'd really like to see this being used to bring it back into industry. Now, I mean, the focus on different sectors means at least we can get kind of a comprehensive involvement from different stakeholders. Again, focusing on that cross section of the entire industry, that needs to be the focus here of the grant. Just kind of go into one other thing that's mentioned is Living Lab engagement and monitoring. I don't know much about that Living Lab project. So I won't be commenting on it. But it'd be interesting to see kind of really what the details are on that. Now, look, one item that I would kind of have a bit of contention with would be this idea of developing an Irish BIM framework for ISO 19650. The ISO 19650 being information management standard through BIM. It's been around for a while, so just in case people haven't heard of it. I would say why would we do this? And why would we dedicate resources towards this? It's effectively a framework for information management. Do we need a framework for a framework? I wouldn't necessarily see the value in there. There's loads of guidance already available. So what new thing is going to come out of that? Wouldn't be kind of too sure of. When you read it, it's fairly straightforward, right? And even from a process-oriented perspective, and that's what it is. It's a kind of a framework process for information management. Like I said, it's fairly black and white. It's there. What's required, is descriptive in nature, so it allows for a bit of flexibility in terms of innovation, developing that competitive advantage within a standard. Which is a good thing. If we're trying to standardize a descriptive standard, and again, we're potentially sucking out the potential for innovation, in that particular area. And look, I think the focus here really is for adoption. So it's kind of questioning, why is 19650 difficult to adopt? I wouldn't say it's down to kind of the understanding of it. I wouldn't say it's down to a lack of a framework for the framework. it's down to desire to take on the overhead that's associated with the processes that are in that standard. They're set out there in terms of good practice for information management, but to achieve that good practice, there's effort, and obviously where there's effort, there's resources that are required to meet that effort. Do people see the value of doing that? That's the question, right? That's the issue that slows down adoption, not technically what it needs to do, or any platform for it. That's not going to slow things down. Well, it really is people seeing are people going to see the value? And if people see the value, they'll do it. If they're concerned or they see it as a risk, that's when they don't adopt. So again, developing kind of a framework for the framework. I wouldn't see that kind of as hopefully a priority item for the group. The next one here, is hugely important and actually fits within the academic sector tremendously, is improving education and training. It's a big issue. That kind of we see at the moment. Needs to be collaborative between what industry needs and what the offerings are coming from training providers as well as universities, and higher education. And even maybe the people looking at this are maybe looking at primary and secondary education as well. Important topics for generating interest in the construction sector for sure. Don't want to wait too late, in terms of third level education. We want to try, get more and more people, involved. And again, if we can offer part of that education at the earlier ages, the exposed to the possibilities, and interest in the construction sector, particularly from a digital perspective, very much fits in the younger generation. I know I kind of mentioned my skepticism about surveys before. One of the items that did come out of that MBS survey was that younger people are more inclined to see the benefits of digital work practices. So very much, if we're looking to kind of bring on the next generation, and we need to, that's just something that needs to happen in any industry. We need to look to see kind of how we can educate to generate that interest, to generate, and if generating that interest falls back into kind of digital work practices, well, that straight away, should be kind of a flag for the industry to say, okay, we need to support what's happening and inform what's happening in terms of digital design and construction at education level. So again, big area where linkages would be beneficial, and they need to happen from an academic and an industry perspective. And look, to me, kind of the risk item here are the academic partners willing to challenge themselves in terms of what they're providing at the moment, or is it going to be kind of do we agree to do the some more? So it's an opportunity for the education sector to innovate and evolve programs, again, to meet industry requirements now and potentially in the future. Now, the biggest risk item I see here, in terms of the success of the grant, is this idea of developing a digital procurement, production, identification standards, and training materials. Why I see this as the biggest risk item: implementing any sort of standard that relates back to procurement can potentially have huge knock-on impacts. In terms of the other items and the other things that are meant to be delivered, the worst case scenario is that the funding that's being provided, doesn't reach its maximized potential in terms of outputs. Again, relatively small risk there. If this goes wrong, this particular item of anything to do with kind of procurement, digital procurement standards, the knock-on impact can be significant, seriously significant. So again, the details on this are going to be critical. And I'm really looking forward to see what comes out from this particular item. Because again, just with that statement, it's not terribly clear. Is it just talking about a classification system. Look, in that case, we have classification systems that are already out there. Some that kind of are introduced at international levels. ICMS, comes to mind straight away. Is related back to procurement. Is effectively can be used as a classification system as well. Where the concerns are, does the standard start to look at rules of measurement, based on digital practices, right? That start, how does this look? Is it looking at the entire construction project life cycle? Is it meant to be implemented at a contract level, and is a contract changes required for this type of standards to be implemented? All questions, right? No answers on that one yet. So look, I said it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and as you can see, just from those items that I just mentioned there, in terms of what it's going to potentially impact, you can see what a risk that that one could potentially be. But then also with that risk is huge opportunity. So if we can get kind of standards that come out of that really work well and really support digital procurement, that's a fantastic win for the industry as a whole. So look, that's a relatively short podcast one for this one. We've heard some feedback on that. So look, in summary, we think it's absolutely fantastic that the government is investing in the construction sector, and specifically digital design and construction innovation. Really great to see. As I said, what's suggested in it all is that this is the start. And there's more to come, kind of out of Project Ireland 2040, out of the construction sector group for that. They have skin in the game now. So with skin in the game comes two things. One, they're going to want results, so that's going to drive the industry one's going to drive the consortium, to produce meaningful results that can be adopted by industry. It's going to mandate for industry to improve. And now kind of recognizing responsibility as a major client, that they have a part to play, which is great to see. Now's the hard part, I guess, is from the consortia point of view is going, launching it and getting through it. The biggest challenge is going to be that making that link between academic and industry, making that a reality. And it's something that's an effective reality as well. We are hugely looking forward to this. Like I said, this is hugely positive for the country, for the industry, even for ourselves. We'd have huge interest in this area for obvious reasons. And look, hopefully there's more to come, and we wish that consortia luck, and we'll definitely be following the results that come out of it. Again, you can get in touch with us, contact@brickbybit.com, Twitter, Instagram @brickbybit, the website brickbybitpodcast.com. Don't forget kind of the technical training videos. You can visit those and see those at patreon.com/brickbybit. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.